All right, we're going to get started.
I mean, if you want.
All right, yeah, I guess we can kick this thing off. All right, welcome back to another episode of Dude Dads. We're fresh off of spring break, and we're approaching a year of doing this.
Yeah.
We don't know the exact date that we started doing this, but it was about a year ago because it was right before spring break last year.
It was.
So it might be this week, next week, something like that.
We'll do a personal one.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. But anyway, today, got a pretty freaking awesome guest fired up about having on here. Co-founder of Run and Arrow. If you ever seen these guys in the hunting industry, social media, putting out all kinds of great content, funny stuff, great hunting videos if you haven't checked them out. But today, welcome Mr. Nick Peterson. Thanks, buddy.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Hell yeah, dude. So I remember, I don't know how many years ago, a couple of years ago, a buddy of mine, actually a mutual friend of ours, Lee, he would share your stuff on Facebook and just really just funny, relatable hunting content, memes and stuff like that. And then kind of from there, started following you guys along, and it's pretty wild now. Fast forward, a couple years, and here you are sitting across from us virtually. It's pretty cool. So
yeah,
really, where did Run and Arrow stem from, and how did you kind of get that rolling?
Trevor and I have been. The funny thing is, just a little backstory about Trevor and I. We knew each other. We went to different high schools. We grew up in the same area, but we knew each other, but never hung out. So we joined this basically Facebook group with friends, and that's how Trevor and I really started talking. So we went this whole time with never hanging out in high school, never hanging out through college. But a lease came up in Illinois, and him and I jumped on it. So we hop in a car for 9 hours. The very first trip. First time I ever shook the kid's hand, we hop in this car for 9 hours. And I'm like, if this doesn't go well, this is going to be a hell of a trip. But within 20 minutes, him and I are joking back and forth. And it felt like we'd known each other our whole life. So we got out to Illinois. One of our friends had this little Sony Handycam, and we were watching him because he hit a 10-point and he filmed it. And we're like, we should do this. And without even thinking about how hard or all the additional stuff that you have to get when you film, we just went out and we bought everything that we needed. And literally where this whole thing stemmed off. So it was all because of my one friend's little Sony Handycam. Then he hit this 10-point with.
So the initial concept was just to film hunting content, hunting videos.
Yeah.
Then like the social media presence came kind of after that.
Well, Trevor and I have, we have a good sense of humor, and we like to laugh about a lot of stuff. So when we started, it was just basically for memories. And then we talked about, we struggled with the name. We almost named it Run and Bow, and we had a couple other things because we were moving stands all over the place. And I don't know where one of us said it, and we're like, it works. Let's just go with it. And when we started, like I said, we were going to do it for memories. We were going to do it for fun. And then we started making, our niche was the funny memes. So we started making these memes before everybody else did it. And we were, gaining mass followers because of it. And then all of a sudden, after doing it for a year or two, a lot of other people kicked on, and now you see them all over the place. But it was just like that. It all stemmed from there. And then literally our friends wanted to join, and then other people. So we opened it up, and now we have, 20 people for filming for us, and 30 some people on the field staff.
That's freaking phenomenal.
It's awesome.
You still have the original lease of the Illinois property?
Yeah, we still go out there every single year. So when we're there, we literally joke about this every time we go out there and how it started.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's pretty amazing. And that's exactly where I found you guys was like the hunting memes. Just super relatable, funny shit. You know what I mean? So what state are you in?
I'm in Ohio.
Ohio, okay.
And Trevor's in New York.
In New York?
Yep, that's where I grew up in New York, and then I moved out here for a career opportunity over a decade ago.
What part of Ohio?
Have you ever heard? Well, I tell people Canton. It's 30 minutes below Canton. I say Stone Creek. Nobody's ever heard of Stone Creek.
Right. Yeah, no doubt, man. There's people that don't know where Delaware is, and which is kind of crazy to me. Where's Delaware at? Or what state is Delaware in?
California, right? No.
Yeah, what the fuck?
There's a Delaware, Ohio, right?
Yeah.
So I went to school in West Virginia at a place called West Liberty, and a lot of people were like, "You're from Delaware, Ohio?" I'm like, "No, fuck the state, motherfucker." I'm like, Delaware.
It's wild. So it's literally just south of Philadelphia.
Real south, right? I'm like, it's solely east. Just go east. Run right in.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
if you grew up in West Virginia, what brought you out to Delaware?
Well, no, I just went to college out there.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah. So I was
Nice.
in that little panhandle that you can be in PA or Ohio in like 20 minutes either
Got
way.
you.
Yeah.
Got you.
yeah. So one thing I found, because I've played with filming hunts the past couple years, and it's hard, man. It is
Oh,
like really challenging to do. Um, Now, and we've been a massive issue with this podcast has been the technical stuff, the audio, the video, especially when we do in-person stuff. We have this whole studio set up. We have two
And
cameras,
it's never
lights.
the same problem.
It's always
right.
new problems. And
Yeah.
then you add something like hunting to that, you know, uh, twice as many people for scent control,
Right.
hiding things, all of those elements that go into it. And folks like yourself and others in the industry make it look easy. And it is not easy
It's
whatsoever.
no, and so when I mentioned earlier, Trevor and I went out, we bought all this stuff. I literally, the first time I tried to hunt with everything, I left like 3 things at the house. I'm like, this is a disaster because I mean, you don't think about like the camera arms, the filming setup, the remote control, the microphone. The microphone's a
Hmm.
huge part of it. You don't think you need, but obviously, audio is an important deal when you're trying to or publish media that people want to see. And
Yeah.
then that's just on top of, like you said, the complications. Look, I've done Zoom meetings before. I couldn't even get on your guys' meeting for a second here. I'm flipping out. So it's like there's
Yeah.
always nonstop road or like barriers in your way. And I'll tell you what, there are some days where I wish I could leave my stuff at home. I,
Yeah.
one hunt I went on last year, I totally forgot my backpack because I have a backpack just for filming. I carry that in there. And I got in the stand and I'm like, I forgot something. Like it didn't even dawn on me, but then I sat there and I'm like, wow, this is nice. Like I get to
Yeah.
actually enjoy it instead of worrying about, what I can film and what. Now, I love it, don't get me wrong, but it's just you got to kill an animal twice. You got to film them while you're doing it.
Yeah.
You got to worry about the shot, and it's hard. And we get a lot of people that join us. They want to film, they get the equipment, and then within a year they want to bow out of it because it's just difficult to
Hmm.
bring it in and nonstop have all the on top of like all the technology issues. And then trying to get the SD cards here has been an issue for us because we tried to do it through Google Drive as well for people's footage. That works the best, but then people want to send their SD cards and you have to send them in padded envelopes. If not, like the machine reader literally opens up the envelope and spits it out. So we've had multiple people lose their footage. So it's
Oh
just
no.
it's just one problem after another, but it's all worth it in the end.
How long is the prep? Like when you go to do a hunt, how much more time are you adding before you sit your ass down and start staring through the woods?
Oh, you know what? The easiest thing to do is literally, if you're talking about, sorry, are you talking about getting it to production and getting it on the
No, I'm
YouTube?
talking about like just getting in the tree stand. Like, so what are you adding? 2 hours of prep
Oh,
time?
okay.
You
No, no,
sit
no, no.
in the deer
Once,
stand.
oh, so they have a lot of equipment that makes it easy. They have bases and
Okay.
everything. So I like to, in Illinois, Trevor and I are running guns. So we're moving stands. That's a pain in the ass, but we've got it down to a science now where literally once you get your stand up, there's a component that goes around the tree that you can just hook your camera arm in. We try to use the same stuff. So when we move sets and that, we literally have the same thing. So we use fourth arrow camera arms and it makes it simple. It's only about an extra 20 to 30 minutes. The challenging part is trying to disassemble everything once it gets dark. So in the mornings, you got to wait till daylight. You can somewhat figure it out, but once it gets dark, because there's some little pieces to it, and if you drop something out of the stand, that thing's gone forever, basically, until
Oh
you
man.
see it during daylight. But it's challenging. Once you get the hang of it, it's another 10, 15 minutes
And
to
are
really
you
get set.
so a deer walks in and your first thing is grabbing the camera, like, all right, let me move the camera, make sure
Exactly.
it's camera first and then bow second.
That's there was the very first year I started. I shot a 10 point, but he just walked out of frame, and it's one of the first videos we had, and it's a great video, but it ruins it at the end because you don't get what people want to see, and that's the hardest part because it's not like we sell film too. If I had a cameraman, it'd be like, all right, just you do that job, I'm going to do my job. But trying to get it, and especially if you draw fully back with a bow, there's not, you got to use your elbow sometimes and try to like pan the camera over, and
Yeah.
it's just challenging. So there's been
So
times where I've passed deer and let them go because I wasn't set.
okay.
So this year in Illinois, the very first hunt, the deer that we were after came up to 33 yards right in the morning at 7:30, and I had my camera on the tripod, but I didn't have my remote or anything hooked up to it, so I couldn't get it on because he was standing right in front of me in this field, and I had to let him walk. I hunted him all week and never had another opportunity at him. So
Oh,
it's like that's the downfall of it, but once you commit to it,
Yeah. So
that's
you're
what.
fully committed on like passing up a deer if it's not all filmed correct and not ready, Is there a
Absolutely. And
limit?
then
Like, look, fuck this camera, like this deer, I've been waiting on this thing.
exactly. Like that's it. There's been moments where I'm like, I just want to throw this thing out of the tree, but you got to, you know what I mean? We're doing it for a reason. So can't do.
yeah.
So how many? So it's hunting, it's fishing,
Yep.
all the same thing. It's you ain't going out there getting something. So how many hunts do you have like the numbers down? Like how often does it like you have to be in the woods a lot to try to get that? Like you can't be filming much. How many films
Right.
can you get? How much traveling? How many hunts do you got to go on?
You get one show.
Yeah, do you have to do 20
That's
hunts to get one show?
basically. I mean, there's content. I shot a deer this year a deer I've been after for 3 years. I've let him go the last 2 years, and he finally reached a point. So I had 3 years of footage of this deer that I put into a 25-minute video. So I mean, like
Hmm.
on top of just the hunting alone, when you get footage, that's hours and hours of what I'm going to put in compared to, and that's my story. Like I know the whole story. That's easy, but what's challenging is when some of the people that film for us send in 4 or 5 hours of footage, and we literally have to go through each clip to see what we want to put down and size it down into a 20-minute hunting video. So it's
Yeah.
just on top of hunting alone. I swear, like that's why we try to make all of our content in the off season and then put it up during like right before season starts because it's impossible when I'm trying to hunt. Obviously, you guys know your dads like have a toddler running around and then try to
Yeah.
edit people's videos all in one thing. Like it's just there's not enough hours in the day. So
No. Are you
yeah,
putting the videos you're putting out? Are you doing mostly this year's videos or is it last year's hunts? I
it's
mean,
it's last year's hunt. So we
okay. That's what
get
most people
everybody's
do, I think.
hunts. Yeah, and then it comes up. So then it leaves us all summer to get everything right. Because there's nothing worse than trying to rush somebody's hunt, especially if it's like I said, not my footage. So Jerry, if you send in footage, if I say I miss some key components, if I'm trying to skim out of it, that's why we try to save it for the summers where we
Hmm.
literally sit down and analyze everybody's footage, try to get the best thing in there. So
Yeah,
And
that's freaking awesome.
who's sending in videos
we
for you?
We have 20 guys and girls that film. So
Wow.
we tried to pick them all around the US was our strategy because we wanted key locations where, you know what I mean? There's a big difference between hunting a deer in the Midwest compared to, say, Delaware, where I hate to say it, but views, people don't want to see a 100-inch deer killed anymore. And it's sad because that's hunting. Like they don't understand that, not every place, not every region has big deer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we try to key in on, getting people from all around and then getting the footage from them, but it's hunting, it's not killing. So
Yeah.
we'll be lucky if we put like 10 episodes out a year.
And the you hit on a point where like it does suck that someone can't just shoot a 4 or 6 point deer
Absolutely.
that's 2 years old and you're not happy about that. Like I understand it. We all reach a point in our lives where we want a mature deer and we'll pass I pass up way more deer than I kill.
Yeah, you
But
do.
like remember back when you were a kid, remember when you would just shoot the first thing you saw and you were so fucking happy about it.
That
You know what I mean? And like I know you saw like my son shot his first couple deer this year
absolutely.
and the first one he killed was a little spike and it was one of the most joyous things I've ever experienced, right? And that deer was a year and a half old. You know what I mean? So like why would
Absolutely.
you take that away? And it doesn't matter, in my opinion, it doesn't matter if you're a 6 year old first time hunter or 40 years old and you've been hunting your whole life. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, we're all working class people and we don't get to hunt 7 days a week, or
Right.
4 months in a row. Like I'm fortunate I get to hunt a lot, but that wasn't always like that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Sometimes I prefer to see the amateur shoot the doe than kill a big, 170, 180 class deer,
That and I can't agree more with everything that you just said. Social media is killing the hunting industry because,
Hmm.
like you said, you have guys and girls or women, guys and women now that can hunt all the time.
Hmm.
And most of them are located in the Midwest where you're shooting a Boone and Crockett deer every year. It's not realistic to the average.
No.
I've been hunting my whole life and finally got a mature deer, like one. All right. That's probably the only big mature deer over 100, 60 inches that I'll ever kill. And like
Yeah.
you just said, I got this picture right here. I don't know how hard this is to see. This was my first deer, a little spike. And my dad shot a spike the same exact day, like so we could double up. That's probably I shouldn't say it's probably that's my best hunting memory right there. When I was
Yeah.
a kid shooting something, it didn't matter about the size, and that's the only downfall of having the social media because it ruins it. You feel like you have to compete with other brands that are shooting
Yeah.
big. It's like
And it's
I,
why I
I
like,
myself,
why I like guys like, well, I think Michael Waddell has spoke out about this a lot too. Like,
yeah,
big time, not against the trophy hunters, but like, dude, stop shaming other
that's
hunters that shoot whatever they want. And Ted Nugent's big for that too, right? He's like, who gives a shit if it's you get 1 week a year to hunt deer, then kill whatever you want.
exactly.
I'm sure you know who Kip Campbell is.
Yep.
Red Arrow. He's another guy. Like, he has his kids go out and they just melee does, right? Or
Right.
shoot the hell whatever they want. And it's so, and like you see, and his videos are great too, because you see the whole family celebration, which is that's what it's about. That's what makes us excited to go hunting, right?
Exactly.
And you see when I see my son shoot his first deer and his second deer probably pissed a lot of people off because it was like next year that deer will be really nice. It was like a perfect little tiny 8 point basket. But
Oh
like, am
well.
I going to tell him no? Don't shoot that? Like, what's it?
No, because your son's going to remember that his whole life. Like it's not, he's not going to remember passing that deer, so maybe he could shoot it next year. It's not.
No.
But and then you got those keyboard warriors out on social media that have never even killed a mature deer and telling people to pass it. Like I don't know where that shift was, where all of a sudden you have to be shamed for killing something that you want. It's your tag. Like I
Yeah.
don't. I'm not going to judge anybody on what they want to kill. I'm going to celebrate everything that
Especially if you're trying to kill a
Just
freezer.
Dude,
my thing.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I shot a piebald doe this year because I've watched it since September, and I'm
Right.
like, yeah, I'm going to kill one of them later. It was a fawn, and I'd shot the doe in the last day, the last minute of our big shotgun season in November. I didn't kill anything. I took my son the majority of the time, and she was a big giant mature doe. And I was like, I'm going to shoot her, and then about a month later. The piebalds were out hanging around, and I was like, I want to shoot one of these. And dude, this thing was like 40 pounds. But I'm like, I wanted it. My son was excited
Absolutely.
about those deer, like I don't care, you know what I mean? We're gonna eat it. It's
Yep.
delicious food.
Yep.
It's a gene I don't want in my herd anyway.
Right.
Um, so and like I get a cool rug out of it, you know what I mean? And I've never shot one, made me happy, you
That's
know?
what my buddy Nick Cupid shot one this year too, and he posted it, I think, on an Ohio site, and people were bashing because it was fun. He's like, I want to shoot it, guys. Like it just comes down to what I wanted to do. It's not like I'm purposely going out and hunting a doe, like you said. It's bad genetically. Like what people
Yeah,
don't understand. Yeah, they're beautiful creatures, but at the same time, like you don't want that in your herd. The spreading, they're
yeah,
typically smaller animals, and a lot of them don't even make it if you've read about it. So it's
yep,
like take them out, try to call that out of there, and it's his tag. Like, hey,
yeah. Do you
congratulations.
Do you think that there's going to be a shift over the next couple years of going back to like the smaller deer are going to be more socially accepted, and because things always tend to go in cycles,
You're
in
right.
every sport and everything. It's like, and I almost feel like the next wave of influencers are going to come through. And I say influencers for lack of a better word,
Oh,
right? Because of
that's
social
what they
media,
are. Yeah.
influencers, TV show hosts, YouTube hosts, all that. It's going to go back to the normal blue collar, whatever makes you happy. And I can almost see that shift coming in the next few years.
I feel like I feel like it's inevitable that it is going to come, and I hope it
Mm,
does. It's
me
just
too.
because land is so hard. It's turning into a rich man's game is the problem. If you don't
Yep.
have money to lease everything, it's not. I've got neighbors around here that I'm really good friends with, and they don't let anybody hunt on because people have ruined it in the past, or people have leased from them, and they've gotten screwed over somehow. So it's like we need that shift to happen, and like neighbors being socially acceptable if like they're not hunting to allowing people hunt there, like you said. Because if I got my son in a few years, I'm gonna let him shoot what he wants. There's no shame in any of it, but it's just
No.
it's a shame that people are doing it the way they are. But
Yeah.
I don't.
People do suck sometimes,
Do
man.
you do bloopers?
So we have blooper reels, but like we've never really done much with them. So Trevor and I typically, people don't send in their bloopers, so it'd just be Trevor and I if like we have a ton,
Okay.
and we have a ton of them. So it's like we should do it because the
Yeah.
Bowmars, I don't know if you've seen his blooper reels that have been coming out, but like they're hilarious. And some people hate on him for being foolish, but I think it's funny. Like I think he knows what he's doing.
I think the blooper reels sells the real part of anything you're watching. Like
Yeah.
my son and I love watching the old. Like I just introduced him to the old Bill Dance bloopers, which I loved.
Okay. All
It
right.
shows you the real side of everything. It shows you the problems. Like like you're talking about like smaller deer hunts or whatever. Like just showing you the real side of hunting instead of like everything
Yeah.
glorified
Yeah, because it's
on
never.
internet about big ass deers and shit. Like, what about the fucking
Right.
somebody falling out the old ass step ladder on your fan breaking when you're going up it? You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah, the
Because
misses, all that stuff.
like a good solid miss. Just all the funny stuff.
right. Right.
Yeah, that's real, and that's the stuff I like. When I watch hunting in any capacity, which really that's the only TV I watch is like hunting and fishing and boating on YouTube. That's like my TV,
Yep.
and like the real stuff, the stories, and yeah, the mishaps or the cutting up with your buddies. That's the stuff I like to see. And I think most people are like that. I don't really care about the kill shot. It doesn't matter. It's the other stuff, the relatable shit.
Yeah.
And that's, there's a lot of people doing it that way, and we've talked about it. And if we didn't live so far apart, I think we do it a lot more together
Mm-hmm.
because, like you said, you want to grow with a show, you want to be compatible with it. Our direction, we wanted content at first, so that's why we tried to expand and get a lot of people, and it's worked well for us. But I would, Trevor and I have talked about how we kind of wish that we'd followed our storyline and then other people's storylines as well, and use it in the off season as well, just so people can follow and actually know the people instead of just watching a random person that kills a deer one of those times or a turkey. So that's one thing we are working towards of trying to do a little bit more of it. But I'll tell you what, we both have toddlers and stuff, and it's crazy.
Enough time.
It is hard, man, and because of today's world, my son has said to me a number of times for a while now. He's like, I want a YouTube channel. I want to have a YouTube channel. Can you put my videos up on YouTube? And I told him, yeah. And I actually have 3 videos of hunts of him. His first one I put on my YouTube, but I have 3 other hunts that we did leading up to him shooting the 8-point the last year, and I cut them in and I made them into 3 little mini 10-minute shows.
Awesome.
And I just haven't, and I'm like, all right, I need just to do this and create it because it'll never go away. It'll stay there forever. If anything else, we can look back at a story of him from 6 years old and then growing because he fishes all the time. He crabs with me all the time. We're on the boat all the time. And we can kind of, it's a way to have a storyline for him to see forever. And then, yeah, if it grows and he enjoys it, then that's awesome. And we're fortunate enough to know another fairly large YouTuber. I don't know if you've ever heard of the channel Beauty and the Beastons. It's mainly a family thing. It's mainly his wife,
I
but
think I have. Yeah,
they're massive. I mean, they're huge.
I was about to say, I think my niece was talking. Somebody was talking about it at Easter.
Probably. So Chris
sure.
Beaston is a friend of mine, and he was
nice.
on our show. And I was one day we were golfing, and I was talking about it, and I'm like, man, my son, I should do this. And he was like, dude, do it. He said, I'm telling you. He's like, if you just do it for the reason that you want to document his outdoor journey, he was like, people will eat it up, and he was like, it will grow massively because people like the realness of it. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
yeah, so I need to get on that. I need to do that now that we're in a kind of a weird season. we're sports, but like fishing hasn't kicked on super hardcore yet or anything like that. So, but
Right.
but again, it always goes back to it is a job to film outdoor stuff, and we do outdoor stuff for just fun. That's how we relax. It's how we spend our downtime.
Right.
So bringing your camera all the time, paying attention to all those other things, you do kind of have to treat it differently, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. It makes it, I don't want to say it takes the fun out of it, but it just adds another element where it takes away a little bit of the enjoyment because you feel like if you set the camera down, you might miss something or
Hmm.
whatnot. But it's like you said, it's worth it. And I'm to a point now where I'm thinking, especially with my son, I'm like you said, these memories are always going to be here. Say, our time on earth is not given. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's so who knows if I'm going to be here in 10, 20 years, 30 years from now. And at least it's something that he can always watch because you said it's not going away. And hopefully
Right.
he's going to be doing it with me in the next 10, 20 years. You know what I mean? But like
Yeah.
it's just like so with your son, I would definitely do it now. And you know what we've this trend lately is I feel like everybody wants instant gratification lately. And it's all these shorts and reels it's going to. Ours,
Hmm.
we post a short, it gets thousands of views. We post a video, it gets hundreds of views sometimes. It's like, where is this disconnect? But most people
Yeah.
want those shorts. So with your son's stuff, you should put like you know what I mean? Make the 10-minute videos and then clip a few shorts out of them, put them on the shorts.
Yeah.
So people like clickbait. I hate to say that, but make people want to, follow along with the journey. And
Yeah.
that's
And
what we're going towards.
that's it. You hit the nail on the head about the instant gratification or really short attention span because
Yeah,
the shorts are so popular. It's like it's trained us to, if anything's long form, we want to jump off or skip ahead so quick.
absolutely.
And I don't know if you've ever noticed this or not, but you know who, the Outdoor Boys.
Yeah,
All right. So if you ever pay attention to his videos, how he edits them, his screen is never on more than like 3 to 5 seconds, and he'll switch scenes. And it's tactical because it
yeah.
constantly engages your brain and it keeps people on his videos longer. So that's why he has 30 something minute videos that gets millions of views. But when you're watching it, watch it, and one, two,
Right.
three, it'll switch. It's the same
You're
scene, but the
not.
camera just
Too
jumps.
much. Too much.
It's
I
overstimulating, is what it
want to, yeah,
is.
I want to old school sit down and just nerd out on the nuances and the.
And
Yeah, but
why
that's not the average
exactly?
person anymore.
Well, that's what's
That-
wrong with this fucking world. Okay.
I, you
Right?
know what? I literally, I agree completely because being in a school and like seeing it now, we weren't faced with a technology boom growing up. You know what I mean? Our parents didn't have to worry about a smartphone in my face. My ass was outside until the lights came, street lights came on. Then I was home. Like that was it. Nowadays, it's hard to get a kid off their phone, especially these teenage kids. Like, and that's what we're going to see in the next 20 years if that's going to be the effect of everything. And which
Mhm.
I hate to say it, I think it's going to be because how many people do you see looking up and talking to other people when you're walking somewhere? You don't see it enough.
It's
People are looking at their
yeah,
phone. So
it's tough, man. How old is your son?
he's just over a year and a half. So I haven't gotten any technology booms. We try to cut screen time down. My wife and I were those parents that were like, man, we're not having any screen time. I'll tell you what, when that kid throws a fit and stuff, there's sometimes I'll bring him over, sit on the lap, I'll show him a YouTube thing, and we do like 20 minutes. And then I'm like, okay. But for me, I'm like, oh, I don't know what my parents did without it. But
Yeah, no. Well, that's funny how you think that way before you have kids. I mean, you do. You're
yeah,
like, well, maybe this is a pretty decent tool. I will say
Yeah.
that will ebb and flow. My son is 6, and he's not really a tablet kid most of the time. He's at the age now where like he comes home from school, he wants a ball in his hand. He wants to
that's
go.
awesome.
Let's go throw the football. Can we have? It's lacrosse season, so he's like, can we have a lacrosse catch? And sometimes I'm like, God, can you just give me a break, dude?
Right.
But at the same time, I would much rather that.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
all right, look, this is not going to last forever. I have to enjoy this. He wants to do it. I'd rather him do this than sit in front of a computer or play
absolutely.
video games. He's not a video game kid at all.
Good.
So
I don't even buy that shit.
yeah, so yeah, like I'm fortunate. At least the season we're in right now, he wants to play and be outside. And
Yes.
this
Yep.
weekend we were watching WrestleMania this weekend, and the whole time he's got his little action figures in his ring, and he's playing with them while he's watching WrestleMania. Like I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
He did that's the same shit I did when I was a kid.
Absolutely. Well, my wife and I try because we have one. Hopefully, in the future, we're going to try for another. But it's like I don't want him glued to anything. So there's times where, him being a single child right now, we leave him alone because I want him to use that imagination and play. Like kids, I don't certain examples without calling people out. Like I've got friends that their kids are glued on tablets, and it's just you can see they're overstimulated. It's basically like a drug. You take it away from them, they have monster meltdowns because it's like they need that fix. And then I have other people, I don't know how you guys feel about general parenting. I think it's all bullshit. But I have people, cater their kids nonstop. And I have a family member that does it, and I see the effects of it. So it's like,
oh yeah,
I want that happy medium. I think technology is a big deal. I want my son to have the grasp of knowing what to do and how to use things, but I don't want him to depend on it, if that makes any sense.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It's not an all or nothing. There's a balance. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, if it's quiet time and we're chilling and the kids are like on their devices and they're playing a game or whatever it is, that's fine.
Yep.
But when other kids come over and we have people over the house, they're outside playing.
Exactly.
They're on dirt bikes and four-wheelers and playing sports, or the girls are playing dolls and they're playing. That's not like they're all in the same room on a tablet. Like that doesn't happen. And I think that's the good balance. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Not record a TV at all because he just turns into a crack addict. He's the worst human
what I'm concerned about is like, at least it seems like we're all on the same page with that, but it's like, what is it going to be in 20 years? You know what I mean? When our kids start having kids,
whatever you show him,
exactly. That's the hope.
So if he watches you on your phone all the time, then that's going to be his normal.
Yeah.
So my wife and I, we've had conversations like, look, we can't be on like this because like I could be on my phone as much as I want. As much as I want to work, I just sit on my phone and talk to all my guys. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So you got to pick a time where that shit just doesn't matter.
You're right.
And it's with everything too, right? You don't want to show your kids you're sitting down on the couch being lazy on your time off. Like, let's just get up and do something. Right. And
also, my kid, I'm lucky because if he does, he's the worst human being. He needs to go outside, or he's the worst thing ever.
That's a great problem, though. That's a great
dude. He cannot like it. It's like it used to be like, yeah, just put like a show on real quick over. He'll chill, but like 30 minutes in, and you want to turn that thing off, it's a fucking disaster.
I always compare. My son's the same way. If he spends too much time inside. You say like he's like a working dog. Like I have a lab. If my lab doesn't exercise, he's a dick. Yeah. If my son's not out doing boy stuff and throwing a ball and fighting and doing all the stuff, then and I feel this is 100% all boys, especially men. Boys aren't designed to do that. They have to go create, play, work, right? And what work is to a 5-year-old and work is to a 40-year-old are two different things, but it's still the movement that their body needs. You know what I mean?
I just saw like I look into a lot of toddler stuff, obviously, because I try to keep up with things. I try to be an active parent and I'll know a lot of different things, but I saw something where they did a study with boys versus girls at the phase of basically crawling. And they put a barrier up in front of them. And most of the boys would typically move through the barrier to get to what they needed to do or try to figure it out, where some of the women or the girls would sit there and cry until somebody came to help them. So it just shows that like that phase of their lives, like boys need something. They got to push through. They got to do it. They can't just sit there for most of the time. Where I don't have a girl, I can't talk about it. I just, from the study that I've read, it just, possibly that they're better at sitting still a little bit, because I know my niece compared to my nephew, that girl's like an angel. You know what I mean? Like she can sit there 100%. Whatever. But so it's just interesting. Like you said, I think typically boys have more of you got to get them out there. You got to do all that.
1,000%.
My daughter will destroy the house. She might be worse than my son. She climbs on everything. She pulls everything down. She gets in everything. Fuck around, find a marker.
Tom is just being the universe, and God is punishing Tom for being a dickhead when he was a kid, and that's really what's going on.
Absolutely.
TV. I'm like, you want to give this crackhead crack? I'm like, we nuts. I'm like, this kid's gonna get outside. They're already jacked up.
Oh man.
Okay, so my wife's family her sister lives in London, and she wants to go see him this year in June, and my son can't. It's an 8-hour flight. My son can't sit still for 20 minutes. Like when we go into restaurants, it's a nightmare. So I'm like, unless we're taking the guy, I'm going to sit away from you, and I'm going to be the person yelling just to save you from like the embarrassment of everybody else saying, quiet that kid, because I know he's going to be a train wreck. It's going to be awful, but we're going to do it. it's just going to be one of those things we laugh about in a few years.
Maybe give them a couple melatonin or maybe some
Oh,
Benadryl,
no, trust me. We're going to start experimenting with low doses of it to see if it knocks them out for a minute.
By the way, I do not advocate drugging children.
No, no, not at all. But just for a flight,
Yeah,
to
yes,
sleep.
that's right. Everybody will thank me. I
That
promise
whole
you.
restaurant scene though, like I remember going out with Macon, like when he was 1 and he was 2, and we would go, let's go out to eat real quick. I'm like, why do we do this? I'm like, this is crazy. This kid cannot sit still. Like, he cannot sit in the booth. He cannot. We don't go to restaurants anymore. They can't sit still long enough, man.
No,
Oh, goodness gracious.
They might not even eat the food. Like most time, like we might not eat the food, and then they just like, all right, so we getting up, or what are we doing? What should I mess with the
Right.
people behind me? What's up?
Right? Exactly.
So let me ask you, what is well, first of all, not to get too personal or anything, but I think people are interested in this. I know I am. Are you guys, is Run and Arrow monetized?
Yeah. So
Okay.
one of our biggest regrets is monetizing too soon. So anybody that's growing a YouTube channel, as soon as I don't know what it is now. I think it's actually like 500 subscribers now. But when we monetized, you had to have 1,000 subscribers and then I want to say 10,000 hours of views within the month. And then you could monetize. Well, as soon as you monetize, your videos get compiled with the Druries, with the Bomars, with the bigger, like the Whitetail Edge, with all those big channels. So unless you have a video that comes out, and that's why we, on our group pages, that's why we say, hey, a new video's out. Try to like it, subscribe it. Hey, it's within a day or two. Try to, like it. Because if you don't get a ton of views right at first, all it's going to do is bury our video. And that's the one thing that I kind of wish we held off on and wait till we grew to a bigger amount of subscribers and then tried to monetize that. But, it didn't work that way. And it's a battle from here on out.
Is that the only monetization you get is YouTube?
We do that. And then we have the sponsors that we have a couple affiliate deals. It's not much. So when I don't want to sit there and say we can retire off this because it's Trevor and I, but it pays for the websites. It pays for like our time doing all the editing and things like that. It's not a huge money maker, but it's just something we enjoy doing. Let's put it that way.
Right. But I mean, let's be honest. Like, it would be nice if you were making 100 grand a month, right?
Absolutely. And ultimately, hopefully that's goal, because then we could do actually stuff. Our biggest attractiveness for people to join us are our sponsors like Domain, their discount code, so people can have a deal for doing what they're doing for us. So it would be great if we could actually give kickbacks to people that are filming, or give kickbacks to the field staff that are literally submitting pictures that are getting attention and things like that. That's the ultimate goal. It's just getting there now. It's just one of those grinds.
Right. Now, are you actively seeking your sponsors? Like, you calling these companies saying, hey, look, this is where we're at. We would love for your support.
Now, yes and no, because with our Facebook having almost 90,000 followers, people contact us a lot. So we try to pick and choose sponsors that are going to be beneficial to everybody on the staff. Like, that's why we haven't gone after any like gun affiliates. We haven't gone after both, because too many people use different things like camo. You know what I mean? Everybody loves their own thing. So we don't want to jeopardize that for everybody. I don't want to put a stipulation you can't be in a show or you can't be in a picture without wearing a Sitka jacket. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a good point.
So we try to get it where people can use what we have and it's beneficial to them. So we've tried to key on some sponsors that way, and we've had to turn quite a few people down. But it's free advertisement for them. They're losing nothing except for a little bit of a overhead that they're already marked up on their profits. So it's all beneficial to them. Advertisement's a huge cost. So.
Yeah, so they're not paying, their sponsors aren't paying you. They're just giving you discount codes for your.
So we worked out deals in order to, like I said, in order to have the staffs that we do, we worked out deals with them so everybody could be hooked up in it. That's why we have our discount codes that we just share on that one page. So people can use them, and I have to send them an updated list every 6 months. So I have like a running record of who's on there, just so when they see the purchase, like I've been contacted before about somebody that got let go and tried to use the contact code, and I'm like, no, don't hook them up right now. So we had to change the code a couple times. But we've structured it so we can try to appeal to the people that are giving us content, and opposed to us making money. So like I said, when our biggest money maker right now is YouTube, the shorts, the videos, We get money from that. We put it towards the website, and then that's where it goes.
Yeah, nice. But it's that's just compressing time and helping you grow, getting to your goal quicker.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need it to make a living, so let's just put it back in, reinvest it.
Exactly. And
You
like
don't
we
have
had
to
a
do
we had a
everything.
guy for an energy drink that wanted to do and pay us to do something. He was unwilling to give everybody a code when we got down into it. And he started keying in on smaller markets, which is fine. Like things don't work out. Great guy. I don't know. It's not, I'm not bashing, but we didn't, he wanted to just pay us a certain amount. Well, we didn't want the amount. We wanted to give everybody a code instead. And just the deal fell through. So it's like, it's things like that because, you know, we try to look out for people and it's hard, you know, you're on the field staff page. It's hard to communicate with 60 some people all the time. And that's something I need to personally do a better job of because the biggest thing with the company is keeping those relationships happy. And you know, I tend to put my social life here with my son ahead of everything right now because it's so busy at that phase. So that's one thing that, you know, that's one of my goals for this year is to literally contribute and reach out and talk to people more of a one-on-one instead of just like a whole group post.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, man, if you want a 6-year-old to give you content, well, I'll do that for you.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say, like, if you start his channel, I can share any of the shorts. I can put it up there. It's just content's content. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, people
Yeah, but it
enjoy
might be
seeing
cool also for, and I'm just thinking out loud, like it would be cool for your brand too to have like a child because it hits a whole nother demographic. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? And I don't think there's enough
That's
kid
that's a
like
fear program.
yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that what I
but
said there's not
it's
enough of it
needed.
out there.
No, and hunting
Pop Warner
literally,
hunting films.
right? And hunting, you know, it's a dying breed, it seems like right now. The youth aren't getting into it as much. We need kids and like show kids because what 6-year-old, you know what I mean? 6 to 14-year-old wants to watch a 40-year-old guy out there. Nobody. Like they want to
Yeah.
watch a kid their age that they can key on. So, like you said, like your friend told you, it'd be great to get that storyline going, and we can definitely collaborate on that.
You know what? That's a great point. You just made that. The kids now do watch kids their own age, where we grew up and you watched adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they do watch kids. I'm gonna need to reflect on what that really means. But yeah, that's a great point of like how kids are marketed and who they
Exactly. Well,
relate to.
everything's my niece and nephew are, you know, they're a
Yeah.
little older now. They're in their one's in their teens, one's about to be, but it's like they love like they love when I put out something. My nephew will always text me and be like, "Hey, I love that episode." Da, da, da. But they follow, like you said, kids their age with those million viewers, and then they go off of what those kids want to do. Now, my
Mhm.
nephew's really starting to get into the outdoor thing, so he's always calling me. He's always like, "Hey, can we do this?" And so next year, I'm gonna let him shoot hopefully his first buck up here. But it's like I need kids to see him doing it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They start following along and be like, "Oh, mom, dad, I want to hunt." You know what I mean? It's just there's not enough of that anymore.
Is that the cycle then? We had too much of a period where now the kids need to see kids doing it to believe in it again, and
I think
then we go
so.
back to older people, them watching older folks, and
Yeah, the pendulum always swings.
yeah,
Right.
because Bill Dance has always been old to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dance is really old. You know,
Right. Right. But
Man.
hopefully that's the direction we need, like we were talking about earlier, to get that cycle broken of big mature deer. Because I'm more than happy to watch a 6-year-old shoot a basket wrap deer than some guy I don't know shoot a booner. You know what I mean? Because I know that feeling. We've all been there when we were kids. When you shoot a deer, like that's a feeling of ecstasy. You know, you can't
Yes.
cope it. You can't buy that in a bottle. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah, and most people can't relate to killing a Boone and Crockett deer.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, you're right. I think we are going to see a lot more than that, you know. But maybe that'll kick my ass into gear of you know, filming, putting more effort into filming stuff. It does like I went fishing yesterday. We got a new boat.
I
Me
saw
and a
that.
couple buddies went.
Congrats, man.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Me and a couple of buddies went out and there was like a piece like maybe I should bring my GoPro and mount it. Maybe I should, but then it's like this is a new boat. I don't want to have to worry about that.
Right.
I want to figure out the little nuances of the boat and different things. And it's like the first fishing trip, you know?
yeah.
But then when you're done, you're like, damn, that would have been good. You know,
Yeah.
this happened, you know, and you know, so it's two different mindsets, you know?
Absolutely.
I
Well,
hope it's one or two, so.
the thing that I see shifting too is I feel like in the next 5, maybe 10 years, I don't think it's going to be 10 years. I think we're all going to be filming with these anyway. I think our phones are going to be the key. The cameras nonstop keep getting better and better. And it's like they have cinematic, filters and all that, and anything I got to switch to. So, is it even worth going out and buying a GoPro now? I don't. I film all my B-roll with my camera,
Yeah.
my iPhone. It's just like, so it's in your pocket anyway. You're going to have your phone. Might as well pull it out and try to, you know what I mean, get some clips here and there.
I'll
And you
always
don't have to upload. The great thing about the phone anymore, man, is you just don't. You can share it right then and there.
Right.
You don't have to upload shit. It can easy edit.
Exactly.
That's the thing about it anymore, man.
yeah, I've done a lot
You don't
of
have to go to Happy Harry's and give your film to the guy and come back 2 hours
Right.
later. Get pictures.
Right.
I've done a lot of shorts with my phones from especially fishing and crabbing and stuff. Like my TikTok channel is literally all just outdoor shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do put that stuff up. Do you have a microphone for your phone?
I don't.
No,
I
so it's
do-
just whatever audio picks up.
Yeah. I mean, that's the joys of editing, because as soon as I put a clip in, because I use Final Cut Pro, if I don't like the way it sounds, I can always add music over to it, or I can do a sound over with the microphone that I have here if I want to talk. A lot of times, especially with editing, I might talk. I typically will set my camera up on my wife's craft table behind me, and I'll talk into that and then use it below a clip. So I know it kind of takes away from it, but it might sound like I'm in a tree stand. Really, I'm sitting here giving a play-by-play, because you're not talking in the woods as much people talk during it. So it's like,
No.
it's just those editing tricks and tips. But that's the one thing that, I've gotten into some editing apps on here. They're not as great. Like it's definitely not as good. So until that gets better, that's why I said I think we're like 5 to 10 years away from using phones exclusively. Until things like that get better, I don't think it's going to shift yet. But we're close.
Yeah, for sure. You guys should start a podcast.
We've talked about it. The only thing is, because we were on one podcast before and we loved it. So Trevor and I, like I told you before, man, I'm a talker. If I'm talking too much, just tell me to shut up. But we want to do it. It's just with our small kids right now. It's like, if we do it, we got to do it at night. He works nights because he literally is a nurse in this one place called Cummins. So his is the night shift. I work the day shift. It's that time to try to find where we could sit down for an hour and do it. But it's definitely something we've discussed.
That is real. We have that problem. We're both self-employed. Both of our wives are teachers.
Nice.
So we try to film everything earlier in the day during the weekdays, but sometimes it's got to be on the weekend, or has to be. Like we have one tonight at 6 p.m. I don't know if you know the YouTube channel Life by the Bow, or have you heard of Avail Fishing Gear?
I've heard of the fishing gear. I don't know the channel though.
Yeah, so Life by the Bow is their channel that kind of pushes their brand. But anyways, we're having Clay, who's the owner of that company and that YouTube channel. He's coming. They live in the Keys, so we have to film that tonight, 6 o'clock, and it was borderline a problem, because that's family time for us. That's
right.
Like it's dinner, it's baths, it's sports, it's all the shit that's going on. So I was like, all right, we have to make this work because this guy wants to do it, but. Yeah, it is a problem. I don't want to say we make it look easy, but it's shit that people don't see either.
Well, that's the thing. Like you guys do make it look easy. You know what I mean? You got the setup. I love the setup behind you guys. But it's like it's finding that. I mean, even going back and forth with you trying to find a time, and I would put it up. Like it's just hard. That's the problem we have right now. Maybe in a few years when our kids get a little bit bigger, but I don't see it happening.
You guys with me then. Yeah, it's 3 ways. Then you guys can look at me like what? And then my schedule is absolutely just fucking.
Yeah,
he texts me.
Can you make this work? I'm like, nope. Can you make that work? I'm like, no.
Right? Yeah, you hate keeping say no to everything, but
that's life.
And let's be honest. You two, the most important thing to us is our family and our kids.
Yeah.
So we're not going to sacrifice them for anything, right?
Exactly.
So we all are well aware and hyper focused and intentional about the time we have with them, and that's the benefit of. We were just talking earlier when we were waiting for you. Are you happier to have kids now when you're a little bit older versus you're a little bit younger? And I would say without a shadow of doubt now, because I'm more attentive. We're in a better place financially. We could kind of do better. We could be better parents, really, to sum it up.
Absolutely.
So yeah, now we're hyper focused on that. Like, the big things. Tom just bought a boat too. The big things of like buying our new boats was like, mine was my kids are getting bigger, and my little boat was too small. When all four of us are on it, it's just too small. So
Right.
there's an excuse to get his not first boat, but a boat for a different
First
reason.
brand new boat.
Yeah, it was for a different reason, right? Like,
Yeah.
hey, because we want to do these things with the kids, crabbing and stuff like that on the boat he has now. Um, so there's a little bit of a different mindset, I think, and squeezing in all these other things, your company, your brand, and it gets tough.
Absolutely. And like you said, you're going to put family first no matter what. So that's why we'd love to do a podcast. I just realistically, I don't see it happening now, hopefully in the future.
Yeah.
And I got, you know what, I'm a very active father. I try to be at Kai's, everything. My son's in Kai, everything I try to be at. But I will tell you, my wife has to work 24 some of these days. Today's one of them. And
Oof.
I, I don't know how, shout out to all single parents out there because I'm off my rocker when I'm just doing this by myself. Like I had to drop him off to daycare real quick. I got an appointment and then I'm literally going to pick him up and on my own all day. And it's tiring following around. But
No doubt.
I don't want to miss these moments either. So it's like,
No, it goes so fast. My daughter's 10, and it's it was a it's a blink, and
right.
every parent says it like, oh, it goes by quick, it goes by quick, and you're like, yeah, yeah, I know, I get it, but you don't get it.
No,
And we have her 10th birthday, and I'm like,
You'd be buying a car soon.
holy shit.
right. Right.
Yeah,
High school soon.
what? Yeah, like so. I always use this as an example. So my daughter's in fourth grade, and my wife is a teacher at the high school, and she's a student council. So we're big with like homecoming stuff, right? So her class that she's followed from ninth grade, 10th, 11th, 12th, they're going to be seniors next year. So then she's done with that class, and
Right.
then she could restart and pick up another class as a class advisor. Well, she goes, I'm not going to pick up a new class because I won't be done with them and Charlotte will be coming into the high school. And I'm like, holy fuck, that's after next year, 3 more years, she's in high school,
It's crazy.
which is, I can't wrap my head around that. You know what I mean?
A
So,
good a good friend of mine said long days, fast years, and it's literally happening. It's like blinking by. Like some of these days I'm fighting to get through because I'm tired as hell. And then all of a sudden my son's almost 2 right now. And I'm like, when did these last? And like you're saying, 10 years. And my parents told me it was gonna be like this. I didn't believe them, but man, it's scary.
you
Really scary.
never, yeah, you cannot understand it until you experience it. And then just you blink, and all of a sudden I have a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Right?
You
Right?
know? Like I feel like I'm still trying to figure this parenting thing out. Like I don't know what the
Oh,
hell I'm doing, and you
my
never do.
no,
Once you
one of my
figure out a 2-year-old, then they're three, and you don't know how to
right.
parent a 3-year-old.
I like when my iPhone brings up like the years and the memories, and it'll do like a little a little
Yeah,
display for you. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, that seems like yesterday. That's 2 years ago.
right,
Like I
right.
remember being there right now.
Yeah, it's wild, man.
And
Absolutely
what's
wild.
funny is when I was growing up, when I was a kid, I thought my parents had it all together. And now I'm like, they were just winging it like I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like and I'm really close with my family still. So it's like my dad, he was just here actually. We hung a tree stand 2 days ago. I like to get a lot of prep done now, but like, so he comes up, helps me. It's kind of our thing to do together. And
That's awesome.
I was joking around with him and he's like, Nick, I didn't have a clue what the hell I was doing back then. He's like, you just go day by day and figure it out. I'm like, you're right.
Getting all the
You're right.
secrets now.
Yeah, dude, that's so great. Well, look, man, I know we're getting kind of close to your time, and you got to roll soon.
Oh, yeah.
Couple last real quick things. What you know, in short, what is your spring and summer look like? What's like the big to-dos to get ready for hunting season?
I'm excited this year because I'm finally getting a small compact tractor. So one of my biggest things I'm going to be focused on is food plots this year. Um, Besides that, I try to get my deer hunting stuff done in the spring. First off, I hate being out there when it's 80, 90 degrees, sweat my ass off, trying to climb trees and getting attacked by mosquitoes. I can't stand
Hmm.
it. So I try to get a lot of this, my summer prep, I try to get it done in the spring. Just with hanging sets moving. Now, for your public land hunters, things like that, that doesn't work. I'm lucky enough to have a little piece of land, a couple different pieces of properties that I can hunt, where I can go try to get everything set up. But my focus this year is definitely going to be on food plots. So excited
Good.
about that.
That's pretty awesome. And then what's like a short-term goal and a long-term goal for Run and Arrow?
try to be as big as the Drury's is our mountain that we're going to try to get up to. That's our long-term goal. Short-term goal is we're trying to find more dedicated filmers. It's tough, like I said, people get into it, and like we were talking about earlier, the setup, once you get the habit of it, it becomes like a second nature. But a lot of people get out of it, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them for it at
Yeah.
all because it's a pain in the ass. So our
Yeah.
short-term goal is to find just a couple more people with a like mind that we have, where you got to bring it in all the time to film.
You I know you're 100% right, and I've never seriously filmed anything. I've kind of dabbled a little bit. What's kept me from doing it seriously is I know it's a lot of work, right?
Well,
Because just to kill a deer is a lot of work without
exactly.
adding the other element to it, or to get a boat ready to go out fishing. Like all that stuff is already challenging enough, and then adding another component to it, that's I kind of can see that, so I don't do it. But the
Right.
other side of me is I want to. I do want to do that.
So we get a lot of messages actually about people that say, "Hey, I want to get a camera. What do you recommend?" Well, I'm not going to tell anybody to go buy a professional setup. Why spend, a couple $1,000s on something you don't even know if you thoroughly enjoy yet? Like, it's everybody wants to do it like you said and enjoy it. So I recommend getting like one. They have setups now for your phone that you can snap right on your bow. Start filming. I started filming with a Tachycam, one of those little cameras you screw in the stabilizer there.
I got
Like
one. Yep.
prior to when they used to be huge. I had a Roscoe riser cam that was literally like 2 feet long that I put in the stabilizer at first. So it's like I tell people, start with something small. Get like a Sony Handycam. There's cheap setups, for a camera. See if it's something that you enjoy doing for a season. Then if it is, come back to me, because we're always willing to, take a chance on anybody that wants to film. It's just I don't like taking a chance on people that just want to get into it. I want them to get a little bit of experience first, because like you said, it's most people don't think about that, like how hard it typically is going to be. And then they get in the woods and they're like, screw this. I just want to hunt. And like I said, I don't blame them for that.
Yeah. Well, maybe if you don't mind, I might lean on you a little bit for
1,000%.
some tips or some things to try to start getting better at it, because I would rather do it for my son. If I'm going to go and I'm not going to shoot, I'd rather just focus on here's a couple things I could do to make a pretty good documentation of his journey. But yeah, if you don't mind, I might hit you up here and there about stuff like that.
Honestly, man, I think you should, because and this is another aspect of it. You're good on camera. Both of you are. You know how to talk. You don't sit there. You don't sit. And that's another filming aspect that people don't think about, because it is awkward looking into a camera and talking about yourself, or like talking to anything. So you get a lot of people that get those fillers with the uhs or and like every other word. And it's just, everybody does it. It's just something, but it seems like you've already surpassed that. So it's like you're a good talker. You should get into filming. I'm not trying to just recruit you. I'm just saying, try it for yourself. And if you have any questions, I'll definitely be more willing to help
Plus
you out.
for ourselves too, because the goal is once we get more time, if this blows up more, we have more time. We want to film our own hunts just for
Yeah.
hunting for ourselves,
Yeah.
and we want to add that element to ourselves.
Yeah, and also with the kids.
With the podcast, like we'd like to make that a whole nother element of the show.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, for sure. Well, Nick, dude, I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we got this time with you, brother. I'm so glad I finally got to chat with you. We never chatted
I know,
in
right?
person per se.
Right.
So that's phenomenal. I know it won't be the last time. If there ever is anything that we could do for you guys, or if you ever find your way to Delaware for some reason, or
Wait, where's
here,
Delaware?
hey,
No, I'm just kidding.
we got look, man, we got decent hunting. We got good waterfowl hunting here. We've got
Absolutely.
especially goose hunting. We've got great fishing, crabbing. So if you ever want to do some summertime content, some fishing stuff, dude, come down. We have boats, big, medium. I got access to big offshore boats. So tuna
I'm all
fishing
about it, because I got summers off, so I'm all about that.
yeah, that's great, man.
Right.
All right, buddy. Well, look, go on about your day, and we'll definitely catch up again here soon. Thank you again so
absolutely.
much.
Guys, thanks for having me. And if in the future, if you ever need anything else, I know Trevor would want to do it too. So if you ever want both of us, or do something like that too, so maybe set something up that.
Oh, for sure. Oh, real quick, where can everybody find you? We're going to share obviously all your socials, but where are you mainly at? Where do you want to see grow? Give yourself a shout out real quick.
Honestly, it's just we're hoping our YouTube channel. If I could direct anybody to the YouTube channel, because we do produce great content. We have a great staff that literally puts their heart and soul into this for us, and we want to show all the hard work that they're doing. So our YouTube is our main focus right now, and then you can find us at any of our socials.
All right, outstanding, man. We'll make sure to get this out. This will probably be out here Actually, it'll probably be this week. So
Yeah, well,
I'll
I'll
let you
share
know.
it on everything. So
Yeah,
appreciate you
awesome,
guys.
brother.
Thanks for
Have a
having me.
great day, dude.
All right. Later, boys.
See you.